Hey everybody, welcome to Happy, Joyous, and Free. I'm your neuro coach, Melanie Yates. We're going to talk about burnout, specifically for you doctors out there. Burnout is a symptom that's been going on for years, right? So as a health professional myself, I know a little something about it. So I've worked at the community hospital here for 20 years. And, when I finished school, I was so excited to not only make money, have insurance, and save people's lives. I mean, I thought I was so important. I knew that working in the medical field was noble and that people were going to look up to me and that I was going to be seen as smart and intelligent and doing something wonderful for humanity. And this may sound arrogant or for the wrong reasons, but this is just my story. My story is that I really was excited to have a secure job in the medical field where I could make money and have health insurance for my family and be important. I mean, I think we all have desires inside of us, and that's really where I started from. Was I wanted to be important and I cared about what other people thought of me so much, and I felt like this was going to be a way for me to have a title and a label, just like doctors do. Doctors have a title and a label, and people do look up to them, whether you know it or not. And people do think of it as a noble profession, and people do think you are intelligent. And we do put doctors on a pedestal, and we do expect a lot from them, and we expect them to save our lives. And that gives us another reason why we could suffer from burnout, because hey, to live up to other people's expectations of being intelligent and saving lives and doing everything that we possibly can to save your loved one, that comes with a huge responsibility. And everything's great when that's going well, but what happens when it's not going well? And when I first got into the medical field, it was like I was so excited and I loved my job. I loved putting my scrubs on, and I was a go-getter. I was like hungry for money and overtime, and the hospital provided the playground for me to do that. I got to see lots of patients. I was ambitious. I was grabbing patients before other people could grab them. So my coworkers, I kind of felt like I was running circles around them, right? And of course, this was a way for me to feel important and that I was doing something in the world, and I was saving lives and I was helping others, and I was naturally pretty good at just nurturing and loving people, right? So what happened? Well, the pace that I was working at was not sustainable. So I was working all kinds of different shifts, the night shift, the PM shift, the morning shift, and working as much as I could overtime. And then, of course, I enjoyed the paycheck. And I did really get a lot of satisfaction from saving lives and helping patients and being nurturing and loving. And I don't know about you, but patients aren't always, especially when they're sick, appreciative, So I really was just kind of burning the candle at both ends, because I call it a worth grab, which is a trap, because I'm looking for my worth and I'm looking for the love that we crave in the wrong place. So I was looking for my identity and how important I was in the wrong place. So I was thinking by how many patients I saw, how many patients I could please, or how many patients I could save, that was going to make me either more important or worthy of more, or other people were going to see me in a different way. But that doesn't really matter if you don't think highly of yourself. If it's counterfeit and it's not really the truth, that's why I call it a worth trap, because we think it's the real deal. We think that these actions and behaviors are going to actually make us whole and that it's going to fill us up. But in reality, it doesn't. And so we'll get into that later about what a worth trap is, and where we look for these places to form our identity. But for now, I want to explain what happened to me in my story as far as working at a hospital, all shifts, and realizing that it wasn't sustainable. And the patients kept coming, right? And so I had to, something had to give. So what happened for me is that, I used alcohol to kind of numb that feeling. And also, when I would get attached to patients, or I would feel sad about seeing somebody, or worried about somebody. So I'd be driving home from the hospital and I would be thinking about something horrific I'd seen at the hospital, and it was hard to block it out. And I didn't know how to compartmentalize things. I know how to better now, but back then I wasn't sure how to put it in a box and put the lid on it. So I would put it in a box, and then I would, use alcohol to kind of numb the feeling so I wouldn't have to think about it. So I wouldn't really, I knew the box was there, but I wouldn't have to really think about it. I was numbing what I was doing. And this worked for me for a long time because I enjoyed working hard, and I felt like I deserved and was entitled to drink and take a load off, take the ease off. And because I was highly functioning, I could, go to work really hard, and then come home, and I felt entitled to drink and check out because I was going to have to go back again. And this pattern actually helped me keep going back to work. Like I didn't see the long, it seemed like it was working. So I thought it was sustainable to, work hard, play hard. And I liked playing hard so much that kind of inspired me to go to work, so that I could, if I worked hard, then I deserved to play hard. And so I was kind of rewarding myself with this, with alcohol. And then, alcohol stopped working because I would just come to work and I would feel not only exhausted, but I would feel like nothing mattered. And I stopped caring because the patients just kept coming, and it didn't feel like I was really appreciated. And it really didn't seem like, that's your job, right? You save people's lives. It's not like they're going to give you a trophy every day. And, even though I think we can even lose track of what people think about us because we're so wrapped up in what we have to do, we're not even thinking about that anymore. We're just taking the brunt of feeling exhausted and tired and run down. And then the next patient comes and the next patient comes, and we have to keep going. And there could be management situations where, you feel stuck and your hands are tied and there's nothing that you can really do about it. There could be politics. There could be relationships inside the hospital, people you work with that are also contributing to feeling exhausted. So the three main components of burnout that have been studied and studied and studied are emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and reduced personal accomplishment. So that's what was happening to me. I was completely exhausted. And so I was having these emotions about what was going on at work, and I didn't really know how to handle them. So I was kind of pushing them down and then numbing them out with alcohol. And even, we can use other things to numb out. We might use the computer, we might use procrastination, we might use exercise, we might use an affair, we might use food. There's all kinds of different ways to numb these feelings because we don't really want to address them or manage them. But I have found that if you do not manage your emotions and you do not acknowledge what your emotions are telling you, then they will exhaust you. Your emotions will end up not only exhausting you, but they will be managing you. So that's probably the first place we would start if we sat down together. We would look at what your emotional exhaustion is telling you. It's a signal. There's a signal going on. And a lot of times that comes from the thoughts we're having. So our thoughts create this emotional exhaustion, and then that creates behavior, and then that gives you your results. And so this whole program is for physicians and ways to change the way you feel about your job, change burnout, have a long-term sustainable way of living and being a doctor. So firsthand, this emotional exhaustion usually to me is the first sign of burnout. So we can recognize that we feel stressed, but emotional exhaustion is just it's a signal that our brain is telling us we are at our limit. And I think that part of the coping mechanism comes into the next one, the depersonalization, because we detach. We have to detach from our patients. We have to detach from our family. We have to detach from ourselves. It's a coping mechanism. And there's various forms of this, but this is one of the leading causes, not a cause, it's a symptom of burnout in physicians. And so it's a coping mechanism because we have to detach from ourselves in order to keep going to work because we feel so powerless and so stuck, and it is so unmanageable that we're on the borderline of feeling like insane. So it comes down to, I have to detach from whatever I'm feeling so that I can go to work and do my job. And so it's natural to do that. It is a coping mechanism. It's a survival technique that our brain comes up with to support us and help us go to work. And if I know you right, doctors know how to push through, and they are trained to push through in medical school. And so your stamina, as far as continuing to go and go and go for the sake of humanity, is so strong, but it's also at our own expense. So the next one is the reduced personal accomplishment. So then, maybe you have a case where it doesn't go right. There's a lawsuit. There's a problem. Somebody's complaining. The higher ups have you written up for something. You hear through the grapevine, nurses don't like you. Someone's complaining. Whether it's your colleagues, whether it's coworkers, whether it is your own patients. we often are looking for this personal accomplishment and personal identification, our worth from other people. And when we do that, we're always going to be disappointed and we're not going to feel good. We're not going to feel good about ourselves. Our identity starts being lost. We literally lose ourselves in why am I even here anyway? Why am I even doing this? You know, healthcare is no more fun anymore. And these thoughts that come up from these symptoms attribute even more to feeling depressed and anxious and suicidal. And then that creates behavior towards addiction and taking matters into our own hands, because honestly, the fact that you're even listening is pretty huge, because doctors are known for not asking for help, figuring it out on their own, because you guys are smart, you know, you're intelligent, you've learned how to be, you know, self-reliant and self-supporting. And so why would you need someone else to help you? So here it is. Why would you want me to help you? What can I offer you? And basically it comes down to, I am a coach. I have been coaching individuals for the last 10 years. I have worked at community hospital for 20 as a medical professional, a radiologic technologist in interventional vascular studies. I have been on call. I have worked all kinds of hours. I have worked side by side with interventional radiologists and surgeons, with ICU nurses. I understand what it takes to work at a hospital. I absolutely have been in burnout, and I believe I've recovered. And I am passionate about our healthcare system. And I know there is a need to help doctors. So I can offer something that other people can't offer. Number one, if you go to a shrink, which I'm sure you wouldn't, you are going to end up getting a diagnosis. It goes in your chart. Maybe other people see you walking into a therapist's office. Your reputation is definitely important. So this is anonymous. There's no pills, there's no diagnosis, there's no consequence for telling the truth. So I know when I was going through it, I was not going to get help, and I wasn't going to tell anybody that I was using alcohol to sustain. And I didn't realize that I couldn't stop on my own, and I didn't want anyone to know. And I was absolutely not willing to go to a rehab. No way. And there was no way I wanted my work to know, my colleagues to know. And I didn't even think that was going to help anyway. I didn't even think I had a problem that was that serious anyway. I just knew that I needed alcohol to keep me going, that was the only thing I was really living for, because if I was willing to go to work, only if I could reward myself with alcohol at the end. And so that only worked for so long. And I don't know what you're using to sustain your way of living right now. It could be numerous things, but I just know that we're afraid to tell the truth because of the consequences. And as a physician, there are severe consequences. If you are feeling suicidal, there are consequences. They can take your license. They have to report it. I am a neuro coach. I have helped many clients with suicidal thoughts. I have helped many, many clients with PTSD and have been successful with tangible results. So why wouldn't this work for an amazing, intelligent doctor who's saving lives? And I'm passionate about this because we need you. We need you to stay in your profession. We need all that you bring to the world. So for me, I knew how I felt and I got a solution. And I had been going to therapy, and I wasn't as worried as maybe a physician would be about going to therapy and what people thought. But I still didn't like, when I was going to a psychiatrist because I needed so much help. It was like I didn't want anyone to see me walking into that office, and it was scary because there was a radiology department in that building, and it was like one time I ran into a physician I worked with, and she was like, "Hey, how's it going? Why are you here?" And I'm like, and then she just kind of changed the subject because it was like she knew I was going upstairs to the crazy house, right? So it's like, I didn't want anyone to know that I was seeking help. I wished it could have been more anonymous. And I just know as a physician, there's more at risk for people to know. So I wanted to create a safe place that a physician could come and tell the truth, and that there's not going to be any consequences for telling the truth. I am a life coach. I have experience and results as my education. That's what I can offer you. I can't give you a diagnosis. I can't give you a pill. I can't give you a prescription. But with that, there are no consequences to really telling somebody what is going on. And guess what? I have solutions. So there are many tools to help you deal with anxiety, depression, addiction, behavior you want to stop doing. I want to help you love your job again. I want to give you fast acting behavior skills to help you feel better today, right now. One of the things that they've proven scientifically is that body language shapes your brain faster than anything else. So when you when you put your scrubs on, when you put your doctor's jacket on, and you look in the mirror, and you give yourself a high five, and you have the body posture of putting your shoulders back, your chin up, looking yourself in the eyes, practicing smiling. I like the high five thing because our brain is already programmed to know that a high five means go get them. You got this. You deserve to have a great day. It's already programmed in our brain as supportive and encouraging and a celebration. So that's what I'm going to leave with you. If you want to start looking at your life differently, you're going to need a high five. You're going to need some encouragement. You're going to need some body language right now to help you go. Now, there's tons of scientific proof and case studies and research and tons of books. My coaching consulting services are about meeting you exactly where you are, having a safe person to tell the truth to, which most of us can go through our whole lives never getting because our pride is in the way and we care about what other people think and we don't want anyone to know. We all know that coaching gives an accountability. So not only am I giving you tools that you will learn and be able to practice long after we stop talking. the accountability to get you started. When you realize I'm burned out, I'm depressed, I'm anxious, and I'm behaving in a way that is hard to even look at myself in the mirror, then you're exactly where you need to be, because you just need someone who understands and can get you from one side to the other. I want to help. I'm passionate about physicians. I'm passionate about the medical field. And after the pandemic, I knew this was my calling, to help people get through this. We need you. We need what you do. We need the way your brain works. You have been called to serve. And I just want to make it easier again. So, my best to you. And I really do hope in the future that you walk through the doors of your place, that you save lives with a smile on your face, your eyes up, your shoulders back, and that you actually are excited and love what you do. Remember, you have everything you need right in here and in here. I'm just going to help you uncover it. The solutions are in you. So until we meet, this is Melanie Yates. I'm your neuro coach.